welcome. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the families, friends, and supporters for coming here tonight, encouraging your cadet, and most importantly, supporting your cadet throughout the Academy experience. Thank you for your attendance and hope you enjoy this special night. This is a very special graduation ceremony for the Municipal Police Academy at Lackawanna College. Since its inception about 48 years ago, this is the first Academy program that all of the cadets were hired by a municipality as full-time officers prior to the start of the Academy. That is very special to us, and it speaks very highly of the two departments, City of Wilkes-Barre and the City of Scranton, who made an effort to get these cadets the background checks done and all the admission requirements completed before the start of this program. The staff and the instructors were so excited to have this class come through, and they spoke so highly of all of the cadets. They did such an incredible job. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Academy staff, or as I like to call them, the Academy family that makes this happen. The Academy has been blessed with a team of dedicated individuals that do an incredible amount of the work to get the cadets ready, from the very first phone call related to their admissions to tonight's graduation. Some very special people are part of this team that work very hard to ensure that they get the best education possible. I'd like to introduce my staff, the staff of the Lackawanna College Police Academy. Jerry DeSoy, retired Chief of Police, Wilkes-Barre City. Assistant Director of Academy Operations, Kevin Mahoney. Lieutenant, retired Pennsylvania State Police. Academy Administrative Assistant, Lisa Senek. She's our Law Enforcement Continuing Education and In-Service Academy Specialist. Additionally, Paul Bowman, former Chief of Police, Patrol Officer for 27 years, our Academy Operational Assistant, could not be with us this evening. And one very, very special person who has been with me ever since I had started as the Academy Director in 2018, and she was here prior to that. Denise Boyle. Denise is the Academy Admission Specialist. She is the liaison between the college and the State Training Commission, and she is the one who ensures that all of the requirements have been met in order to be a cadet here at this program. She does not like to be recognized. She's up in the back, and I can only say thank you very much for a great job. Well done. Last but not least, but certainly not last, Academy instructors. If you refer to the last 2 pages of your graduation program, you will find a listing of our highly respected instructors. The listing includes their instructors' employment and their specialty. We have a cadre of absolutely the best instructors representing federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. They share their experience and knowledge to develop the best law enforcement officers and future law enforcement leaders. Not all of our instructors can be here this evening. Many of them are en route back from the State Training Commission where they were at an in-service training today. Our instructors are seated down here and up in the back corner. And I could say they did a phenomenal job. Many of the instructors have called in because they were so proud to be part of this class. They've called in to say congratulations to these cadets, and they wanted me to extend their best wishes to them. I now will introduce the honored guest on stage behind us. Representing the Lackawanna College Board of Directors and longtime supporter of one of the Academy's biggest cheerleaders, Mr. Dominic DeNaples. Dominic is seated down front and will be part of our inspection. Thank you, sir. Chief Joseph Coffey, City of Wilkes-Barre Police Department, and one of our guest speakers this evening. Scranton Police Department Chief Leonard Nemeka. He's the Chief of Police of Scranton Police Department, and he will also be speaking this evening. Thank you. Dr. Jill Murray unfortunately could not be present with us tonight, but she sends her regards. Seated behind me, and you'll hear later in the program, it'll make more sense to you when I explain it. Paul Reed, Vice President of Never Forgotten Motorcycle Ride. This organization is a true friend and partner in the training and education of our law enforcement officers. He's a retired officer with the Scranton Police Department. Our chaplain and chaplain of the Scranton Police Department, PA State Police, and the Scranton Fire Department. He's a pastor of the Steamtown Church in Scranton, and one of our presenters at our academy. He presents a program on values and ethical decision-making for cadets. Dennis DiAgostino. Thank you. Also with us tonight is Ken West, Vice President of FOP Lodge 63, and Dave Repchak, the chaplain with FOP Lodge 63. Did I miss anyone? Okay. Tonight's ceremony will be recorded by ECTV and also photographed. A DVD will be provided to all the cadets along with the photographs that are taken during this event to memorialize this special night. So we're about to begin our ceremony. With us tonight are representatives from current cadet classes, part-time Scranton Class 254 and the Hazleton full-time Class 256. They're here tonight to support their fellow cadets as they graduate. Class 254 and 256 are now entering Both of these classes are currently in session, and they're here to support their fellow cadets, our graduates tonight, as they move on to their careers in law enforcement. Class 254, 256, please take your seats. What we've all been waiting for. I now ask our guests to please stand as the cadets enter the theater and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Captain Nunez and followed by the invocation by Chaplain Dennis DiAgostino. At this time, I'd like to welcome Lackawanna College Class 255 as they are led by Captain Nunez and Dick McLean on bagpipes. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Captain Nunez, followed by the invocation by Chaplain DiAgostino.
Halt! Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order! Halt! Left! Right!
Please join me for a word of prayer. God, you're our creator and you rule over everything. Please be with these cadets who are graduating from the police academy tonight, class number 255. Lord, I pray by name for William Ardeline, Adam Biziani, James Griffith, Carlos Muniz Jr., Richard Oshevsky, Cameron Rawlings, Thomas Stornable, Kevin Sweeney, William Wilk, and Zachary Zielinski. Lord, I pray for their safety, that you, God, would take care of them and take care of their families. Keep them, protect them, sustain them, God, in the tradition of the academy. Lord, we dedicate their training and graduation to Fallen Officer Corporal James O'Connor, end of watch, March 13th, 2020, Philadelphia Police Department. God, I pray for his family, particularly his wife and 2 children. Lord, be near them. I also pray for the graduates tonight for strength, courage, resolve, integrity, honor, and character. And finally, Lord, I want to take a second on behalf of these graduates to thank you for the journey so far, to thank you for all of their family and friends that have supported them, their loved ones that can't be here tonight, and to entrust to you their great calling and their career, both with the Scranton Police Department and the Wilkes-Barre Police Department. Lord, thank you for being an amazing Savior. It's all for your honor and glory, and it's in your name we ask this. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God bless you, graduates.
Guests, you can now be seated. At this point in the program, we will now have their final inspection of the cadets of Class 255. The cadets will now undergo their final inspection as a class. The Academy is a paramilitary organization, just as police departments are. We require uniforms, conduct inspections, perform drilling ceremony activities. We have a command structure, a code of conduct that we expect them to live by. The cadets are wearing the uniform from the department that they were hired by. The final inspection will be conducted by a member of the Lackawanna College Board of Trustees, Mr. Dominic DeNaples, who is a veteran of the United States Army. He will be assisted by the Class 255 Captain, Captain Muniz, who is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. Gentlemen, Captain Muniz, please take command of your cadets.
Director, I now return to you, Class 255. This class is well and duly prepared.
Thank you, sir. Captain Mears, please take command of your cadets. Thank you, Captain. How about a round of applause for Class 255? When Mr. DeNaples talks about the class being duly prepared, I must say I'm indebted to the instructors of the Lackawanna College Police Academy and the admin staff. What you saw here tonight is because of them. I tend to just stay out of the way. I'm going to ask all the instructors to please stand. How about a round of applause for our instructors? Thank you. I'm proud to call them my brothers and sisters, all of our instructors. They do an incredible job to prepare people for what's ahead of them. At this point in time, we'll hear from the Board of Trustees. The representative of the Board of Trustees, Mr. Dominic DeNaples, who is a friend of the college. He has been a great advocate and supporter of the Lackawanna College Police Academy. Mr. DeNaples, as long as I can remember, has been here in support of what we do, and I thank him for that. We will now hear from Mr. Dominic DeNaples with a message for the cadets.
Thank you, Director. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for your attendance. My remarks tonight will be brief, general in nature, and directed primarily to those 10 cadets, Class 255. This gathering here tonight for this purpose again demonstrates Lackawanna College's continued commitment and contribution to higher learning, culture, and to getting people job ready here in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Lackawanna College is not new in this teaching business. We have been educating and conferring degrees for a period spanning over 3 centuries. We began way back in the 1800s, all through the 1900s, well into the 2000s, and tonight, honor, distinction, and pride has come to visit us one more time. Tonight, the honors and the distinction rests with this Class 255. The pride as always will remain here in the Academy, but more especially with all of you, more especially because you are the family, you are the ones who helped with the tuition, the transportation, babysitting, and so forth. You are also the people who gave them the encouragement and that little extra push to continue on when the road here may have gotten a little bit bumpy. And yes, folks, the road here is a little rather bumpy. The hill is steep and it's curvy. The way is very challenging and somewhat difficult. However, those 10 cadets know that this is the sacrifice that must be made and the small price that must be paid in exchange for all of this, the bigger privilege and honor to be here today. Let's talk a little bit about being here today. Those 10 cadets are not here today solely because of their purpose, solely because of their choice. They're not here because they looked at the program and said, it's interesting, the price is right, I think I'll like it, I'm going to join up. It doesn't work that way. The screening process and the vetting process and all that is necessary prior to enrollment here is well above and beyond what the average citizen can imagine. We have many applicants, only certain few are chosen. Class, this certification, this diploma you received tonight, does not come alone. It takes with it certain additional obligations on your part. All of a sudden, you're going to become somewhat of a role model. You're going to be looked up to by your friends, your family, your neighbor, and more importantly, the youth and the children you come in contact with. The bar is now lifted on your personal behavior, and you must conduct yourselves accordingly. You must lead and you must teach by example. Class, you are well trained and you are well prepared. And you scrubbed up and shined up and dressed up pretty nice tonight. And you look pretty darn good. What do you think, class? Do they look all right, people? I think they look great. However, the one single remaining unanswered question is, how will they serve? How will they protect the dignity and the integrity of the badge of a police officer? How will they keep it clean, pristine, and free from tarnish and blemish? Class, how will you serve? I have that answer. During the final inspection tonight, I walk through the ranks, I visit each and every one of them. And doing so, I look into the eyes and the faces of each one. What am I looking at? What do I see? I do not see doubt, confusion, uncertainties. I see hope, promise, confidence. I see that eagerness and willingness to learn, to discover, and go forward. And as we all know, knowledge, skills, talent are absolutely no burden to carry. Class, when we separate and leave here today, well, I usually say some have jobs to go to, but I think you all have your jobs. Congratulations, you're all working. You must be the very, very best at whatever you endeavor into. Set your sights high. Point your arrows upwards, skywards. And do not be afraid to take that chance, for the biggest loss will be taking no chance. Learn to apply the extra effort. Why extra effort? Because the ordinary effort does not always work. What is extra effort? Extra effort lies within. It's in your gut. It's in your backbone. It's in your mind. It's that eagerness and willingness to learn, to discover, and go forward, and the absolute refusal to quit or to give up. Class, today you will add to yourselves one new dimension of character. You will add to yourselves an indelible mark of distinction that will remain with you. The certification, the diploma you get today, brings you the building blocks, the basic tools to climb that ladder of success. And here today, and at this level, you will graduate from the absolute finest and most challenging police academy in this Commonwealth, as it now becomes your turn to maintain, add to, and build upon that long legacy and that very fine reputation that law enforcement has enjoyed throughout the years. This great reputation has resulted from those who served before you, people like some of your presenters tonight, your cadre of instructors. Note in your program that all of the instructors are listed by name. And further note that they come from all walks of life and every avenue and aspect of law enforcement. And they're here for a few reasons. First, they're here because they understand the need for good law enforcement. They're also here because they know that everything necessary to become a good police officer cannot be found online or in the textbook. They're here because they want to teach you, impart on, pass on to you all that they have learned, accomplished, and experienced throughout their careers. And for that, let us one more time give the instructors their well-earned and deserved recognition. Thank you, instructors. Okay, class, you're certified, you're going to work, you get up in the morning, you don the uniform of the day, which consists basically of handguns, handcuffs, protective clothing, communicating devices. I'm going to stop here and switch a little bit and tell a real, true life story. Cop whistles. Do they still have cop whistles? Every time I hear that word cop whistle, it brings me back to my early childhood. I'm one of 10 children, grew up in a little small house with my mother, father, grandmother, and grandfather, and it's the right time of the year to tell this story. And on Christmas Eve, my father would take a clothesline, hang it on one end of the kitchen, stretch it across, and we would hang up 14 stockings because it's Christmas Eve and Santa Claus is coming. Well, we would get up in the morning, and those stockings would be filled with nuts, fruit, candy. And believe me, we also got our share of northeastern Pennsylvania's finest anthracite. And there was always a little toy there. And this one year, all the boys got cop whistles. Now you can picture 7 little guys running around the house, blowing those whistles, one louder than the other. We drove my mother and my grandmother crazy. Well, one day passed, 2 days passed, all the cop whistles disappeared. I said, Ma, I can't, my cop whistle, did you see it? I can't find it. Oh, by the way, she said, I forgot to tell you, Santa Claus left those here by mistake. And he stopped by and picked them up. And that was the end of the cop whistles. So in addition to that cop whistle, tonight the old man with the gray hair and the bald head wants to give you a few more items to put in your tool chest. The items I'm about to give you, you must always have with you and never leave behind. Number 1, your physical endurance. You must maintain your physical endurance. Number 2, likewise, your mental endurance. You must maintain your mental endurance, accompanied with the ability to evaluate a situation and react prudently, correctly, promptly. And number 4, and probably the most important of all, good old-fashioned common sense. You're going to have to know how to and when to policemanize a situation, and you're also going to have to know how to and when to humanize a situation. And I'm sure those traits will be honed sharply with experience. Class, you are now a product of Lackawanna College's Police Academy, and you will always wear our label. And going forward in life, we want you to position yourselves and posture yourselves so that we here at Lackawanna can always be as proud of you as we are today. May God bless you. May God bless and guide our United States of America. And may He watch over you throughout your entire career.
Thank you, Mr. DeNaples, for those words of wisdom. As I mentioned earlier, that our program is, for lack of better words, somewhat operates around a paramilitary structure of how we function, how we coordinate each day. We'll now introduce the class chain of command for the graduating class 255. The chain of command is selected by the Academy Director with input from the staff and Academy instructors. This is part of the Academy training to introduce them to the organizational structure of a law enforcement agency. The chain of command is put in place to emphasize communication, organization, and discipline. The chain of command for Class 255, when I call your name, please stand. Captain Muniz. Lieutenant Zielinski. Thank you. I want to offer my appreciation to the chain of command because much of what goes on is dependent on them passing the message, carrying out the work that needs to be done, some of the organizational structure within their class. At this point in the program, we will now have a few remarks by the captain of Class 255. Captain Muniz.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us. My name is Carlos Muniz, and for the last 6 months, I have had the privilege of serving as captain for Class 255. Before I begin, I would like to thank the Board of Trustees, without whom there would be no police academy. I'd like to thank the director, John Chaleri, and the assistant directors, Jerry DeSoy and Kevin Mahoney, for the guidance they have given us and the faith they have shown in my ability to lead. I would also like to thank the great many instructors who we have had the opportunity to learn from over the past 7.5 months. Now you'll notice that there are only 6 of them in attendance. That is unfortunate, and it will happen in this line of work. It is not something we plan for, but the job goes on. Most of our instructors are down in Harrisburg this evening, training. As much as they would like to be here with us, I would like to think that they are here in spirit. With special thanks to the great one. Although, as I said, the majority of them are great in their own regard. Lastly, I'd like to thank each of you for your support, your love, and for allowing us to share this evening with you. I would like to tell a very brief story about how I came here. I'd been living in the city of Wilkes-Barre for about 3 months at this time, and as a United States Marine Corps veteran, I know the best way to get in shape is just walking. In the Marine Corps, we'd throw our packs on and we'd walk everywhere. So I did that. However, I don't have a pack anymore. I'm a civilian. I have a weight vest. So I'm walking through my city. Like I said, I've been here 3 months. I'm learning the streets. I've got my headphones in, minding my own business. What I failed to mention is that I also have a hat on. I've got a beard, and from a distance, that vest could look a little scary. A white truck pulls up alongside me, and I notice it continues to follow me for a few feet. Maybe 10, 15 yards go by. I turn. I ask if everything is okay. The gentleman in the car says it is, at which point I notice there are lights in the dashboard. I ask if he's a police officer. He tells me he is, so I tell him I have my ID on me. I'm a military veteran. I've got my state and veteran ID. He lets me grab them. I give them to him. He tells me he's received several calls that there's a bomber in the area. From a distance, people thought that my weight vest was a bomb vest. We talked briefly. He informed me that there was a test going to be released later that year and that I should take it. So I did. What I didn't know until I came in for my initial interview is that the man in that truck was the chief of police, sitting right here behind me. He was humble, I was respectful. The two of us got to go home that day. He went into it thinking it might be his last day of work. I went into it not knowing what would happen. But we were able to communicate our way out of it. There are times when I found it challenging to be captain of Class 255. Still, it was never less than an honor to lead these men. It is a privilege I do not take for granted, and I say privilege because I know that any of these 9 men possess the drive, capability, and qualities required to be a great leader. At the start of the academy, prior to establishing the chain of command, I was assigned the role of point of contact. This meant it was my job to coordinate all class activities and communication through the assistant directors, a role I would later continue as class captain. After several weeks, I was asked which cadets I thought stood out in a leadership capacity. I decided to write 4 recommendations, 1 for 3 cadets and 1 for myself. My hope was that in the event I wasn't chosen to lead, the Academy would still have recommendations for a full and effective chain of command. However, due to the size of our class, we were not assigned a sergeant. In my recommendations, I spoke of Lieutenant Zach Zelensky's unparalleled professionalism, his desire to put his needs or the needs of his peers above his own, and the care he has shown for his fellow cadets. I spoke of Richard Olszewski and the abundance of wisdom he brings to the table, as well as his desire to share that knowledge. I spoke of Thomas Stornable's ever-positive Marine Corps can-do attitude, which made no task too impossible or unattainable. The last thing I spoke of was my understanding of leadership, the burden of leadership, and the fact that I was not deterred by it. Having served as a corporal in the United States Marine Corps, I was prepared for the task at hand. I stand by those words and each of those recommendations. Had I known then what I know now, I would add a few names to that list. I could tell you about Kevin Sweeney and his constant commitment to service and duty, or I could tell you about Bill Wilk and his commitment to excellence in all things. Sadly, the truth is, I don't have enough time to highlight each of these men and their many positive attributes. Instead, what I will say is that all of them will, in time, prove to be great officers, many of whom will become leaders at their respective departments long before they wear any rank. Some of us will become detectives, sergeants, and lieutenants, or maybe one day police chief. During my final interview with Chief Coffey of the city of Wilkes-Barre, he asked why I wanted to be a police officer. My response was simple. I was tired of watching the world burn. I knew I could play an active role in the solution, a sentiment shared by every man on this stage. Each of us here has seen the news over the last few years. It isn't always in favor of law enforcement. Some of the criticism and questions directed toward officers is warranted and justified. But that does not excuse the burning, the rioting, the looting. Fully aware of the current events, each of us still chose to be here. Contrary to popular belief, it was not a decision born of lack of options. We are here because we love you. We value our communities, and we care for our neighbors. Among us is a sheriff's deputy, an accountant, 2 insurance agents, 2 corrections officers, a security guard, 2 Marine Corps corporals, 1 Army lieutenant, and 7 college graduates in various fields. Our options were never a debate. Still, all of this would be impossible without you. Being a corporal of Marines taught me much more than positivity and effective leadership. It also taught me about the challenges that service can create in the lives of selfless individuals. Those individuals willing to put aside their own needs to help manage the concerns, needs, or safety of others often carry some of that burden with them far longer than they should, because letting go isn't in their nature. At our worst, we will need your help. I count these men among my brothers. But it will be you we turn to. In our darkest hour, it is you we have turned to when the road got rough here at the Academy. And it will be you we turn to throughout our careers. It will also be you that we share the good times with, and there will be plenty. Thank you for your continued support and for your unwavering love.
Very well done. Usually we have one guest speaker. This is a very, very special class, as I said, in the history of the Lackawanna College Police Academy. This is the first class that all of the cadets were hired prior to the start of the program. Tonight we will be hearing from two guest speakers. One, our first, will be the Scranton Police Chief, Leonard Nemeka. Chief Nemeka started as a police officer with the Scranton Police Department in March of 1993. He has held the rank of patrolman, corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, and currently chief. He has a Bachelor's of Science degree in Criminal Justice from the University of Scranton. He was a member of the Special Operations Group and have been certified in many crime prevention programs. He has two adult children in their 20s. I envy that, since I have a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old. And he lives in North Scranton with his wife, Jean. Or Joe, I apologize. Please don't tell her I called her by the wrong name. It's on video. Thank you. As everything is these days, correct? I got to know Chief of Scranton, and I can tell you that the city of Scranton is in very good hands. His predecessor, Chief Graziano, who is now our public safety director, and I know he's out there somewhere. City of Scranton's come a long way. And they now have new officers that will be hitting the street. I thank him for putting the trust in us to train these officers, as I do Chief Coffey. Your second speaker tonight is Chief Joseph Coffey, the chief of the Wilkes-Barre City Police Department. Chief Coffey has been a police officer for 35 years. He's been in law enforcement. He's commander of the investigation unit for the Wilkes-Barre City Police Department. Member of the Drug Enforcement Administration Task Force. Sergeant and a detective. Commander of investigations for the city of Wilkes-Barre before becoming chief of police. And it's my honor to be on stage with these two gentlemen. They are truly leaders, and I know the cadet class have heard me say this. You have to lead yourself first, because a leader of one could be a leader of many. But if you can't lead one, you can't lead any. And you need those role models. You need those mentors. And both chiefs serve in that capacity. Thank you. Chief?
Good evening. Keep my comments brief. Seems everybody's going long-winded here, so I'll keep them brief and we'll get the program moving along. Good evening, cadets, administration, faculty, family, and friends. It's an honor to be here with you this evening to address 2021 Lackawanna College Police Academy Class 255. Thank you, Director Schilleri, for allowing me to speak here this evening. My name is Leonard Ametka, and I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Scranton. Before becoming Chief, I was fortunate to sit where you are today, in the Lackawanna Junior College Police Academy over in South Scranton many years ago. Upon graduation, I was hired with the City of Scranton in 1993. As a patrol officer, I learned quickly that what you saw on TV was not exactly what police work was all about. It was not all about the car chases, lights and sirens, guns drawn the whole shift. Many days we were driving around in your assigned area hoping for that hot call to come in, but instead you were handling noise complaints, parking issues, neighbor disputes, to mention a few. It was during those type of calls that I realized that policing is about the community and the people we serve. It was getting to know the city and the issues in the neighborhoods and how to address them as an officer. With those skills, I knew I wanted to further my advancement in the police department. I took the test for corporal. That position was more challenging in that I was a first-line supervisor, field training officer, where I was able to guide the new officer as well as make decisions as a supervisor for my assigned area. After a few years, I was promoted to sergeant, where I was given more supervisory responsibilities and more officers on my shift. My final role before chief was the administrative lieutenant. My new position took me out of patrol and into the administrative side of the police department. I had a 9-to-5 job working the back office operations of the police department. This was where a new aspect of policing that I haven't seen before. I was tasked to work on community outreach, organize events, compile statistics, and oversee the training and technology of the department. This is where I was able to really get involved with the community by going out and giving numerous crime prevention programs to various groups, from young children to senior citizens, as well as advance our technology from our reporting system to the computers in the patrol cars. Most importantly, it was the community involvement that I really enjoyed. Here I was able to address issues that impacted the neighborhoods, and I was able to get those issues resolved. Community interaction is a priority in my view as a police chief. I walk you through these many years of service to outline the challenges, rewards, and ever-evolving role we all must play to ensure the safety of the communities in which we all serve and protect. I know the last 7 months have been intense, strenuous, exhausting, and sometimes stressful. But I have firsthand seen some of the most dedicated cadets to come through this program. Not only did you go through the academy, but you also worked, tended to your families, and you were called upon to volunteer when needed. This was no small feat, and you all should be commended for the dedication you have shown. I would love to tell you that every day is going to be great, that all people you meet are going to treat you well with respect. But that would be a lie if I told you that. There are going to be days of conflict, despair, devastation, and overwhelming stress. Those days will feel heavy and long. Then there will be days filled with more peace, hope, laughter, joy than you can imagine. For it's those days that will remind you of why you chose to be here today. Remember, you're not alone. You belong to a family of men and women who stand behind you, or beside you. And I would be remiss if I did not thank the family and friends who are here to support you today. The stress that this occupation could add on to your loved ones does not go unnoticed. But it's because of their love and support that the bad days will be better and the good days will be great. Congratulations, class number 255. May God guide you and bless you today and always. Thank you.
Our second speaker for tonight is Chief Joseph Coffey. I also thank him for putting his trust in our instructors, our staff, to train officers for the city of Wilkes-Barre. Many departments are struggling. Many departments are struggling to attract people. But I can say that the image of both of these departments is shining bright, and people and individuals are looking forward to the opportunity to work with them. Nothing further, Chief.
Good evening, and thank you for the introduction. I personally would like to thank all of you for taking the time out of your day to support these newest officers. I'd also like to thank the Academy staff for having me here this evening. It's definitely an honor and a privilege to speak to you on this occasion, especially to this group of cadets. First and foremost, to Class 255, congratulations. I personally would like to welcome you to what I consider the greatest profession there is. You have answered a calling and have begun the journey and transformation from civilian to law enforcement officer. You have passed all the physical and academic requirements asked of you and have endured the many challenges that the academy setting presented to you. I'm sure it was very demanding, and you and your family should be proud of what you've accomplished today. One thing that I can say for certain is that the completion of your academy training is only the beginning. The training that you have received should be looked at as a building block of knowledge and skills that you will need to continue your transformation. From this point on and throughout your career, you will continue to build upon that knowledge so that you can be prepared to face the challenges that await you. Good quality training is needed to become an officer, but more importantly, the training must continue throughout your career to ensure that we as a profession are preparing our officers to meet the challenges they face on the street, and more importantly, so they can go home to their families. Now for a little advice. If I could pass on to you one piece of advice, it would be this. Never forget your sworn oath to protect and serve. You are tasked with the duty to protect all who cannot protect themselves and to serve the public that has entrusted you with a great power. What you have chosen to do is a mission. It's a calling to be a guardian of the public safety. This is a calling that should not be taken lightly. Today, more than ever, police face new and critical important challenges in performing that sacred duty. From now on, you will be constantly be in the eye of the public, and every decision you make will be scrutinized. You will be second-guessed on every decision, no matter how small, but remember, you are well prepared to face the challenges of each day, so be confident in your abilities. Remember, as an officer, you will never be able to please everyone. Decisions you make, the discretion that you use will always leave someone unhappy. Someone will always be expecting more. But hey, that's the way it is. Your greatest asset and valuable weapon is your judgment and discretion. Always do what is right, which will require you to examine your conscience, question your principles, and maintain your values. Doing what is right allows you to look in the mirror and feel good about yourself and your profession. No one can ask anything more from you. Due to the atmosphere surrounding law enforcement these days throughout the country, there's always an unwanted limelight thrust upon us. The issue is that the media magnifies rare and uncommon incidents that reflect on all of us as a profession. In today's age, it seems that we as a profession are constantly being physically confronted, challenged, and scrutinized. It seems that we at times have become second-class citizens because of this atmosphere. Again, this atmosphere is fleeting and not the norm. I can assure you that there's a lot more support from our communities than the media likes to portray. The people we serve know what we do and support us knowing that we are the first line of defense against crime and chaos. I believe that this is the true meaning of the thin blue line. I tell you this because this is the newest challenge for you as new police officers. This is your greatest responsibility to recognize this atmosphere and not let it control or affect your duty to protect and serve. It's very simple. Do the job the way you were trained to do it. Keep in mind the people that we serve. You must always remember that this is a service profession and you will be serving a public sometimes at their darkest hour or weakness or need. Treat everyone you come in contact with just as you would want someone to treat your mother or some other important relative in your life. Remember, everything you do from now on reflects not only on you, but on your family, on your department, the law enforcement profession, and yes, even this academy. Remember, it's easy to have an us versus them mentality, but keep in mind that it's not us against the community. We must recognize that we as police officers are part of the community that we serve. We should thank them for their support by always remembering to protect and serve and not victimize them again by our actions or inactions. At times, you're going to make mistakes. Everyone does, but you need to learn from those mistakes and not repeat them. Never forget your family. They have been by your side up until this point. Remember that as you go out to perform your duties, they are always with you, worrying about you, knowing that you have a very dangerous job to take on. Take time out to be with them, spend time with them, so that they help you maintain a support system to ensure your health both mentally and physically. Now to the family and friends here tonight. Continue to support these officers as they start their journey. To every one of them inside, there was a calling to serve others. They chose to pursue that calling and prepared themselves by attending this academy to become police officers. Like I've stated, this is only the beginning, and now the true challenge begins. Back to the police officers and even the cadets. As you graduate and go on in this academy, use the knowledge and skills you've learned. You will be challenged and tested on a daily basis. You have chosen a life that only a few can and will understand, with the reward of serving others and making a difference in your community. Always remember that you have chosen not just a profession, but a way of life. You are now and always a guardian of society. I'd personally like to wish you great success in a rewarding career, but most of all, in this day and age, I wish you safety today and always. Thank you for your time and allowing me to speak. Again, congratulations and good luck. I would like to state that, Carlos, you took half my speech away. One thing I can tell you about that day is, being the chief now, I'm not sure if I consider myself a police officer or not, but I left headquarters totally unprepared. Don't ever do that. As a police officer, you always want to be Johnny on the spot. You want to be there when that call comes in, on that hot call. It just so happens I happened to be turning on Mack Street when the call came in of a guy wandering around with a bomb strapped to him. Well, as I turned on Mack Street, I thought to myself, well, you're all in. You got no backup. You got to see what it is. So that's when I approached Carlos, and that's when we first met. So again, thank you very much. And thank you again.
Thank you, Chief. As I was sitting here listening to Captain Muniz and Chief Coffey, I couldn't help but notice someone I'd like to introduce. He was sitting there beaming with pride like a father watching his children. Mayor Brown, how about a round of applause? I was sitting there and he was just beaming with pride, and I said, wow, there's someone who truly believes in his law enforcement officers. I thank you, sir, for putting your trust in us to train your officers. Our main guest speakers tonight had many words of wisdom, and their experience shows. Cadets, you're fortunate. You'll be operating under the command of some great people, and it will add to your growth as a police officer. At this point in the program, we present class awards. The awards are given to the cadets for a variety of categories. The cadets do not know until the moment who the recipients are. The first award is the Driver Proficiency Award. It is sponsored by the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association. I will ask Assistant Director Jerry DeSoy to join me in presenting this award. The award is presented to Cadet Griffith. What was that about? The next award is a very special award. The instructors who are seated here have given so much time to the handling of weapons, the use of force. Our firearms program is second to none in the Commonwealth. These instructors have given so much of their time to develop this lesson plan, the curriculum. And many of the cadets, as well as chiefs from other departments, come back to tell me, wow, what they have learned and the ability that they have, these cadets and these graduates from here. The Handgun Proficiency Award is sponsored by the NEPA Chiefs Police Association. I'll ask Academy Assistant Director Kevin Mahoney to join me in presenting this award. This is definitely a first. I've been an instructor since 1991, and I can assure you this is a first. This class had 4 individuals who attained a perfect score in this skill area. The cadets are Cadet Captain Muniz, Cadet Sweeney, Cadet Olszewski, and Cadet Wilk. The firearms section of the program is one of the most difficult sections of the program from an administrative standpoint. And again, a debt of gratitude to all of the instructors sitting down there. They're all firearms instructors and use of force instructors. Well done. The next award is the highest scholastic award. This is the highest average of all course scores combined. There's close to 1,000 hours of training in our program, 27 exams. The cadets must pass each module of training in order to continue. This award is presented in memory of our past director and a dear friend of mine, Mary Ann Grippo. Mary Ann was a lawyer by profession, career prosecutor, and she had a special love for law enforcement. A dedication to this academy that cannot be matched by anyone. I'm going to ask Academy Assistant Director Jerry DeSoy to assist me in presenting this award to Cadet Sweeney. The next award, the Physical Fitness Award. This is another example of the collaboration between our academy, local law enforcement, state law enforcement. This award is the Trooper Joshua D. Miller Physical Fitness Award. Trooper Miller was a graduate of the Lackawanna College Police Academy before his entry into the Pennsylvania State Police. Trooper Miller was killed in the line of duty. The recipient is chosen based on the combined score of all the physical fitness testing throughout the Academy program. Tonight's award will be presented by Academy Assistant Director Kevin Mahoney. And the recipient of this award is Lieutenant Zielinski. The next award is very, very special. It is called the J.J. Lomax Award. The Academy staff and instructor cadre select a cadet to receive the Spirit of Distinction Award. The award is named for one of our graduates, Officer Daniel J.J. Lomax. J.J. was a near and dear friend of mine. We both had very common interests: fire service, law enforcement. Officer Lomax was an officer with the Forest City Police Department, Mayfield Police Department, and a volunteer firefighter with several fire companies in the area. He was killed when he came upon a traffic accident while off duty. He tried to help the driver. Not visible to JJ, there was a live wire, and JJ was electrocuted. I had the pleasure of knowing JJ, as have many of our instructors and law enforcement officers throughout Northeast PA. He embodied service, selflessness, dedication, and commitment to the mission and to others. He truly lived honor, courage, and integrity. The award is given to the cadet we believe embodies those same qualities that JJ had. The Daniel J. Lomax Spirit of Distinction Award is sponsored by Fraternal Order of Police, Northeast Lodge 63, where JJ was a member. I will ask that the two representatives from Lodge 63 please step forward. Vice President Ken West, Chaplain Dave Repchak. Tonight's award is being presented to Captain Muniz. Congratulations, Captain. Coming to the point of the ceremony for the presentation of graduation certificates. I mentioned earlier the Never Forgotten motorcycle ride, and that is one of our most recent collaborations. When I became director in 2018, they approached me and said, we want to do something special. Not only for one class, but as long as we are able to, we want to help out every graduate from this academy. The organization is dedicated to the welfare of police and first responders, and also keeping the memory of our fallen first responders alive. The cadets are not aware of what they are about to receive, and I can say that it is a very generous gift. Tonight, Never Forgotten Motorcycle Ride is donating a $100 gift certificate, $100 gift certificate from Star Uniform to each graduating class member for items that they will need as they begin their career. I cannot begin to tell you the number of cadets who have come back after graduation, number of graduates who have said this has helped out so much. Once again, thank you. We cannot thank them enough for this generous gift. Each cadet will receive the gift certificate as they receive their graduation diploma. With us tonight from the Never Forgotten Motorcycle Ride is Paul Reed. He's the Vice President of Never Forgotten Motorcycle Ride, retired Sergeant, Scranton Police Department. As we are presenting the certificates this evening, he will be presenting the gift certificate to the graduate as they receive their certificate. One of the other traditions of the Lackawanna College Police Academy is a challenge coin. The challenge coin is presented to each cadet. It is included in their graduation packet. The challenge coin depicts the academy logo of mission, honor, integrity, and courage. Each cadet will receive a challenge coin along with their graduation packet, memorializing this special event and recognizing their accomplishments of graduating from the Pennsylvania Municipal Police Academy at Lackawanna College and forever being part of our academy. Tonight, the certificates will be presented. It is not the end for them. It is the beginning. Law enforcement is a lifelong education, not only in the classroom but on the street. In my 30 years of service, there wasn't a day that went by I did not learn something about someone's culture, about someone's life, and most importantly, about what they expect from a social servant like us, law enforcement. The cadets will be receiving their certificates from the Chief of Police for the department they were hired by. At this time, I'll ask Assistant Director Jerry DeSoy and Assistant Director Kevin Mahoney, as well as both police chiefs, to join me and assist me in presenting the certificates. You'll notice that the cadets are wearing the uniform of the department that hired them. Gentlemen.
Officer William Ardeline, Wilkes-Barre City Police Department. Officer Adam Bizignani, Scranton Police Department. Officer James Griffith, Scranton Police Department. Officer and Class Captain Carlos Muniz Jr., Wilkes-Barre City Police Department. Officer Richard Olszewski, Wilkes-Barre City Police Department. Please note his brother, Sergeant Harding, of the Wilkes-Barre Police Department, standing in the rear in uniform. Officer Cameron Rawlings, Scranton Police Department. Officer Thomas Stornable, Scranton Police Department. Officer Kevin Sweeney, Scranton Police Department. Officer William Wilk, Wilkes-Barre City Police Department. Officer and Class Lieutenant Zachary Zielinski, Scranton Police Department.
Well done. How about a round of applause for the graduates, now officers? Another tradition of the Lackawanna College Police Academy is that each class is instructed to choose a fallen or deceased officer to whom they dedicate their training and graduation. This tradition underscores for the cadets the serious nature of the job and how important it is to perform their duties with honor, not only for themselves, but for those that had served before them. In order to do justice to the men and women and canines who lay down their lives in this profession, we started this tradition several years back. Each class upon graduation then becomes referred to as the name of their fallen officer. Class 255 recognized Philadelphia Police Sergeant James O'Connor. A certificate honoring Sergeant O'Connor will be sent to the Philadelphia Police Department and his family to memorialize this special event and the service and ultimate sacrifice that Sergeant O'Connor has made. At the time of his death, he was a corporal, Corporal James O'Connor. He was shot and killed during a SWAT team operation to arrest a homicide suspect at 5:30 a.m. The SWAT team was securing the home on Bridge Street when the subject opened fire on them through a closed door on a second floor. Corporal O'Connor was struck in the shoulder in the area not protected by his vest. Corporal O'Connor was transported to Temple University Hospital where he succumbed to his wounds 20 minutes later. The subject who shot him was charged with murder. Corporal O'Connor had served with the Philadelphia Police Department for 23 years and had been a member of the SWAT team for 15 years. After his death, he was promoted to the rank of sergeant. That promotion was done to honor his sacrifice, his commitment, and his honor and courage that he served with. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. One of his sons also serves currently with the Philadelphia Police Department. And as I said a few minutes ago, a certificate recognizing his commitment and sacrifice will be sent to the Philadelphia Police Department as well as his family. We're now coming to the end of our program. During this portion of the program, we honor Sergeant O'Connor. The captain of Class 255 will now step forward for a banner to receive the banner that carries the name of Sergeant O'Connor along with his department patch. The captain of Class 255 will then receive the banner of the fallen officer, and he will affix it to the guidon that is to our left. The guidon is adorned with streamers bearing the names of fallen officers who have been honored by our past graduates. The guidon then stands at the entrance of our academy as a reminder to each current and incoming cadet of those who have gone before them in this profession, so they can respect the importance and magnitude of the commitment they are making. Assistant DeSoy presented that banner to the captain. It is now being affixed to the guidon. At this time, I ask all of our guests to please stand out of respect. take your seats. I'd like to thank everyone again for attending tonight's ceremony. I realize that it went quite long, but this only happens one time for these incredible cadets, now graduates, and officers of the Scranton and Wilkes-Barre City Police Department. Class 255, you made it. You join a legacy of officers that over the last 48 years of this police academy have graduated and moved on into their careers in law enforcement. During your time as a cadet at the police academy, you have gained knowledge, skills, and a foundation of expertise in many different areas. Most importantly, you have learned the real-life lessons and consequences of our core values. You have learned of the importance and necessity for honor, integrity, and courage. This is not only a calling, it is a mission. The narrative that is out there oftentimes is not very well received about law enforcement. And the captain alluded to it, and I know the cadets have all heard me say this at one point or another. Some of this we did it to ourselves. Because we allowed less than professional behavior. You've made a commitment to stand in the gap between us and those who seek to do us and others harm. You're here to protect and serve and be that bright light in someone's life. It may be nothing more than holding their hand. It may be nothing more than taking someone who is suffering and sitting with them. The legacy of mission and service before self continues on. And I leave you with this final challenge. Stay true. Stay true to our mission and core values: honor, integrity, and courage. Do the right thing always, even when no one's looking. That is the true commitment that you have made. You will always have a home here at the Lackawanna College Police Academy. You are always welcome. Our door is open. And many of you, as I have already told you, we will be calling upon to help us train the future law enforcement officers of the 13 counties surrounding our academy. I'm honored to be here, and I am certain the instructors would agree. I've talked to many of them. We're honored to have you in our profession, in the profession. It would be my honor to continue serving alongside you. Thank you. Congratulations. A job well done. Captain Muniz, for the final time, please take command of Class 255.
Class, attention. Hey!